and welcome back to the Batcave. Hope all is well with everybody. 2 weeks ago, I conducted an episode where I provided an in depth retrospective surrounding the New York Comic Con. Because the New York Comic Con did not take place in 2020, I felt it was very important that we analyze a retrospective surrounding what the New York Comic Con is about, and now how it has changed surrounding the post COVID pandemic time. This past weekend, from Friday to Sunday, I was able to attend the New York Comic Con held at the Jacob Javits Center. And with the reintroduction of the New York Comic Con during the current pandemic, I said it would be curious to see how the parent company ReedPop had adjusted the convention with regards to current safety and health protocols in comparison to what the convention used to be like. So overall, how did I find the New York Comic Con has changed? Overall, I found that the convention hall looked pretty much the same in terms of types of vendors and people that would walk throughout the convention hall. But what I did find was that they did take up the entire convention hall, but the vendors were spread farther away from each other, so the areas were much more open in terms of walking and getting from place to place. And because of that, people did not feel as crammed in as they used to feel when in the prior to the COVID pandemic. I did find that there were a lot of mom and pop comic book stores, but limited mom and pop stores that were dedicated to toys and collectibles. Normally, I felt that in the past I'd seen more of them. There was also a smaller amount of corporate companies that were attending the convention. For example, I did not see Geico, I did not see Marvel, and I did not see Bandai. But I did see Universal and the Sci-Fi Channel promoting their upcoming horror series Chucky, which is actually premiering tonight at 10 p.m. In addition, as I previously did mention, Funko Pop was not present this year at the Comic-Con, which meant no exclusives were readily available for people to wait online for. The most noticeable change, though, that I did find for the convention this year, with the amount of available space due to the limited vendors that were there, I found more space was dedicated to tables and chairs for people to sit in places where you would find vendors, such as towards the back left area of the convention hall. I did find a large amount of tables and chairs which I had never seen before. So I found that to be interesting. I also found that in the crystal entrance areas on both the east and west side of the entrance of the building, there were tables and chairs for people to sit and converse, eat, whatever. Uh, in addition, when people entered the actual trade show area, I found that that Comic Con had dedicated themselves to an area of gaming this year where people could sit in an enclosed area, a roped enclosed area, and play old school video games and more modern video games. Each area that had games was equipped with PPE, hand sanitizers, and stuff like that for cleanliness. So that's really where I found the updates regarding how the convention looked this year versus in the past. Even though there was more vendors in the past, I still felt there was enough to do this year with the abundance of what was available given the current state of affairs with the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, in order to enter the convention, this was a major change this year. As I said in the 2 weeks ago in episode 6, in order for someone to attend New York Comic Con this year, 2021, they had to have each visitor had to have both shots of the vaccine, either Pfizer, Moderna, or I believe also the Johnson Johnson, even though that was one. Although that is interesting, I'm wondering how that did work. I know that on their website it was very clearly labeled 2 shots of the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine needed to be done. And when you arrived by the Jacob Javits Center, there was an area where you had to show your vaccination status through something called the Clear app, which basically, before going to the convention, you had to upload your vaccination card, your driver's license, and a picture of yourself, and it would produce a barcode that you would have to show the people that were selectively positioned to validate someone's vaccine status. And the way they approved your status is you would show the image on the Clear app, and they would provide you a green bracelet, which you had to wear all the days you were in the convention hall. In addition, each person that attended the Javits Center for Comic Con had to wear a mask. Then that was expected. In fact, here's the interesting thing going back to the vaccinations. One person I was made aware of via Facebook was turned away from Comic Con because they did not have both doses of the vaccine. So that's very interesting that they did that. In fact, I also heard another story about one vendor that was also asked to leave because they were not following the mask guidelines. So I'm really glad to hear that ReedPop and Comic Con were taking the PPE guidelines seriously. That both the government and New York City Department of Health were enforcing. In addition, the other thing that I found that I heard on the local news was that ReedPop had limited the number of tickets this year that was available for the New York Comic Con, whereas in the past the population for people that attended the New York Comic Con was in the 200,000 range. I heard this year was in the 100,000 range. That was still a lot of people, but I could still see that there was reduced capacity this year. It was evident. This, of course, resulted in shorter lines to enter the bathrooms, and also various stations throughout Comic Con were equipped with PPE things such as hand sanitizers, especially by the bathrooms. And as I said, if any type of video game play was in use, I did see bottles of hand sanitizer readily available for people to sanitize their hands after using. In regards to the enforcement, though, of the COVID-19 protocols, even though it said that people were required to wear masks, I did see from time to time people not wearing masks that were approved by ReedPop and Comic Con, especially in the inner roadway area on the outside. I did see cosplayers that were wearing helmets and not the approved masks, which I'm not suggesting, I'm for or against. I'm just indicating the facts of what I saw, which I also, of course, photographically documented, should anybody ever ask. But as I said, in the outside area, people were trying to keep social distancing. I really didn't see a lot of this, especially by the food vendor trucks on the outside area. But inside the conventional, it is hard for people to maintain social distancing, especially when they're so excited to get to their favorite vendors. But in the inside area, I did see more. I'll put it this way: I did see more people wearing masks inside the conventional than in the outside inner roadway area, which is still considered inside the Javits Center. There was a limited number of celebrities that did attend Comic-Con this year, whereas in the past I remember seeing much more of a plethora of famous stars from old films, television shows, or even upcoming events. But such individuals that I did see at the New York Comic Con this year included William Shatner, George Takei. I did hear John Cena was there. Hayden Christensen also did make an appearance. Johnny on Bosch, and even upstairs in the show floor, the Power Rangers area that had merchandise had Karen Ashley and Steve Cardenas, who were the Red and Yellow Ranger from season 2. Artist Alley was filled with immense amount of artists from various comic books that I did notice, and some great artists were there. That also, once again, in terms of social distancing, I found the Artist Alley was much more full in terms of people not maintaining that social distancing from time to time. In regards to going back to the celebrities at the Comic Con, one of the things that I did find that was a major criticism this year was in order for people to go and meet their favorite celebrities and get autographs, pictures with them, they needed to have like a reservation to do this and planned in advance. A major criticism, though, was that certain celebrities were taking photographs and autographs of people after hours and not charging. One specific instance that I did hear of this was Hayden Christensen, which I heard ticked off a few people. I mean, but that's the luck of the draw. That does happen from time to time. It was made aware. It's important for us to understand, though, as I said, that a geek's experience with this convention is going to begin months prior to the convention actually starting. So normally the convention tickets would go available in July, and within 30 or so minutes, boom, they're gone. But actually, I was monitoring ReedPop's ticket sales, and the last day, Sunday, the last tickets were actually officially done, meaning sold out, the Thursday or Friday of the week of Comic Con. So it's amazing how tickets were not sold out as aggressively as in the past. Once again, I think that piggybacks back to the vaccine mandates that ReedPop was indicating. But one of the things I should point out quickly is this is for people that were 12 and older. Anybody under 12 did need to get a negative COVID test prior to the convention in order to attend. So as I said, the convention overall did take up the entire Javits Center, but I did not see, unlike in the years past, people going to Hudson Mercantile, the Hammerstein Ballroom at the Manhattan Center, and the Hudson Yards Park to partake in other events in the Javits Center, outside the Javits Center. As I said, the main attraction has always been the Javits Center, located on 429 11th Avenue. But yeah, once again, what I'm saying doesn't imply that it wasn't a boring convention. It wasn't dull. I found it to be very interesting and enjoyable, given, as I said, the state of affairs with what's going on with COVID-19. When attending the convention, I also did bring up 2 weeks ago that the weather is a gamble in New York City, given that the convention takes place the Columbus Day weekend, Indigenous Peoples Day that weekend. Ordinarily, the weather, as I said, it depends on. It could be a mix of hot weather, cold weather, sunny days, raining. This year, surprisingly, on Friday and Saturday, I actually found the weather to be quite warm, in mid to high 70s. But on Sunday, we did have some overcast, a couple of sprinkle showers throughout the day. So, for people that were cosplaying and all that and dressing up, it was a little warm in the convention hall. Even one person said that when they went into a panel room, that the AC wasn't on as best as it should have been, given the amount of people that I heard were in some of the panel rooms. I, for one, did not attend any panels this year, although there was one that I really did wish I attended. On Friday night, there was a panel on the main stage for the film Ghostbusters Afterlife with Ivan Reitman, Jason Reitman, and some of the major cast members. And what they were supposed to do is talk about the film and then show a few clips. So, interestingly enough, what they did was they surprised people that were in the main stage area, by showing them the entire film. So that I found to be really exciting, given that the film was actually supposed to be released about a year and a half ago. So I think they were just like, let's just show everybody the film so that some people could have some, relief about it. And a few people that I spoke with in the Javits Center on Sunday said that they actually really, that saw the film, said it was really great. I didn't ask them for any spoilers. I just asked them what they thought of it. They said it really was a great film. So I really do look forward to actually seeing Ghostbusters Afterlife. I believe it's coming out in November. Now, as I said, much of the commerce of New York Comic Con does revolve around the mom and pop stores. I did find many mom and pop stores, not only for comic books, were willing to bargain, not just on Sunday, but also on Friday and Saturday. And the variety of comics that actually were available were quite remarkable in terms of A, how much they were going for, and B, what the actual comics were. So, just for example, some of the comics that I was able to get my hands on for reasonable prices include the Batman, the first appearance of, I keep forgetting his name, Tim Drake as Robin. I almost said Jason Todd. So this is actually a comic I've been seeking after for some time. In addition, I was actually able to get book 3 of The Dark Knight Returns. Now that I have this one, I'm going to, of course, be looking for the other books. If anybody is aware of anybody is selling good quality versions of The Dark Knight Returns comic book story line, I'd be quite interested. But I'm not looking at this point for any CGC rated comic books. I'm obviously looking for within a reasonable price range. Overall, if I was to give a general synopsis of this year's New York Comic Con, I would say it is still considered one of the ultimate escape for geeks. I saw people very happy being in their cosplay outfits, dressed up as Spider-Man. I saw some individuals dressed up as Star Wars characters, stormtroopers, TIE fighter pilots, scout troopers, you name it, that are part of course, the 501st Legion. I also saw several people dressed up as Batman. I saw a couple of people dressed up as Spawn, which I found those costumes good. I actually found 2 guys that were dressed up as Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, and was really, their costumes looked great, how they were able to pull that off. And overall, I did see people very, just happy to be at the convention and glad that after all this time, it was great to just see people that, that have the same interests as me and other fellow members of the geek community. Of course, people are looking forward to maybe next year's convention. New York Comic Con has already announced that next year's convention will be held at the Javits Center in 2022, specifically the weekend of October 6th and 9th. And, I really look forward to see what's going to take place next year, especially as we continue to move beyond the COVID-19 pandemic. If we're still in the midst of it, I'm curious to see how they improve on the COVID-19 protocols that have been established, if we're going to still require vaccine mandates. But overall, I found it to be quite an enjoyable weekend at Comic-Con. I found it very productive. And as I said, I found people to be very pleased and eager to be there. I am finding people online that are saying that they're having postpartum depression of not being, at Comic Con, because once Friday starts, or Thursday, excuse me, it goes so fast. And people just want to be there and have a great time, whether you're there to partake in obtaining toys, comics, and collectibles from the vendors, meeting your favorite geek celebrities, or of course partaking in any of the major promotional events that the major studios are having. As I said, one of the major promotional events was for the USA Sci-Fi Channel series Chucky. They had this great truck there, an ice cream truck, which basically had this facade of calling this 1-800 number to, and you would get on the phone and Chucky would be there saying, "You better watch my show, otherwise I'm coming for you." In addition, they actually gave out free ice cream samples. I don't know where the ice cream came from. And normally I would have tried it, but because of my inability to digest dairy without lactate pills, I was not able to enjoy it. So that's pretty much it for this week. I really look forward to speaking again next week with everybody. Hope all is well and everybody is safe and sound. Thank you so much for joining Larry's Batcave, and as always, please make sure you're liking and subscribing. If you have any questions or concerns, please leave some feedback. Thank you, and have a great week, everybody. Bye.